Smartphones have ruined society. Like they fucking destroy the world, guys. This is worse than the atomic bomb or something like that. Like this is the true cataclysm right here, for real. Let me try to explain. I'll try to be brief. You know, I'm not gonna drag a lot. First thing, think about the time that you actually spend on this shit, like scrolling. Just think about it. Like, it's thousands of hours, probably tens of thousands of hours at this point. You know, like those are days, weeks, fucking months of time that you spend on this shit. Like, think about, like, you don't spend on it in this time. Most of the time, I'm sure you didn't spend on it doing actually like relevant shit. Probably not. You're probably like doom scrolling YouTube shorts or reels or doom scrolling whatever. I don't know. Yeah, but it sure wasn't something productive. Like, think about what could you do with that time? Could you have done with that time? Actually productive things or good things, or actually like healthy things. Doesn't need to be anything fucking 1,000 IQ. Like, anything. Like, you could have done anything better than doom scrolling with that fucking time, you know. That shit just probably gave you anxiety or something like that. I don't know. Just think about that, first of all. Now, second thing is that it may sound like a boomer thing to say, but I do think in general, like, after the smartphone was released, like the word before and the word after, not immediately after, like give you like 3 years after smartphone release, I honestly, like, I think that I am almost sure I listen to examples around me in my life that after that, the sometime after the release of the smartphone, especially after the doom scrolling was implemented and shit like that. But I think people, I'm pretty sure people actually in general, like the normal people, like people that like work or home, not normal people, those people, like, they used to read like books and whatever. And actually magazines. People used to have magazines. They used to pay, you know, to receive like magazines monthly, weekly, and they used to read, you know, they used to read newspaper and shit. I'm pretty sure most people stopped like reading, basically, like anything, or they just read way less like than they used to. The average normal people. Like, comment me if I'm wrong about this, but comment below. Like, do you guys still read like books or whatever, or do you think that smartphones actually distracted people from that, like make people like not want to read at all, you know, like fucked up people's attention or just robbed them of their time or something like that with addictive shit? Comment below your experience with that, because I truly think that happened. I hope you guys read. Reading is very good. No books, comics, manga, whatever. You know, just fucking read. You know, don't let this shit kill your reading time. This shit is worthless. Other thing, people don't actually use websites anymore like they used to. You know, I was born in the 90s, okay, late 90s. So I was like a child in the 2000s. You know, before the fucking smartphone came in, you used to have like dumb phones, like the like this phones right here. And this cell phone. Oi! Que é? Eu vou jantar depois, tô ocupado agora. Anyways, people don't use fucking websites anymore, okay? Like, we used to have lots of fucking websites. Like, everything that you do on these apps and shit, we used to have lots of websites. Like, the internet at that time was like, I won't say Wild West, because I think that was more of like the 90s, but it still had some of it. But we had so many websites that people would access, you know, that we would access every day. Like nowadays, I'll get to this point a little bit after, but nowadays most people just use like 3 things. They use fucking Instagram, YouTube, and X, and maybe 3 or 4 different apps that basically have the same vibe but specified one specific thing. Oh, and TikTok, whatever. I don't know. I think TikTok got banned, but you'll find another thing that is equal to it. So yeah, we used to use lots of websites, and each of those websites had an aesthetic to it. They had soul, soul. Things are soulless now. They used to have soul. They have their own people, like group of people that used those sites. They had their own culture, their own style, their own purpose. Used to have forums, used to have blogs, used to have different sites to play games, to download games, to fucking do whatever. There were sites that were like experimental. There are artist sites that you could go to see the artists' art. There were so many options, cool things, like sites that were like hubs of, I don't know, you had like the fucking, I don't know, Cartoon Network site, the Disney site, the Nickelodeon site, which had, and each of those had their own games and shit. You have different blogs and forums to discuss, I don't know, anime or music or whatever. You had so many fucking things going on. Like, it was like, the internet was like a fucking, the things that you would use on the internet wasn't for apps like it's now. It was like a universe of websites, different websites with different people, with different cultures and stuff. Like, they were actually culture depth to things. Things were not soulless, and it was so fucking cool. Like, each of those sites, like, they weren't like sites like that. They weren't ruled by big fucking corporations. They were like, some sites were like just a group of people. There are sites that were like one people administrating it, and it was fucking cool. It was fucking cool. They like, it was like each site was its own word, fucking little words, with some characteristics. Like, they each had a thing going on, and it was so fucking cool. Like, such a diverse, like, culture and stuff. Things weren't like homogenized like they are nowadays. It's fucking ridiculous. Anyways, so the next thing I want to talk about is like the monopolization of the internet, basically, by like Meta, Google, and X basically ruled the things in the internet, not the things of the internet, the internet that most people use. You basically like the normal people, like the fucking 90-something% only use things owned by Meta, Google, and X. For real. Like the apps, the websites, and it's pretty dumb, it's pretty ridiculous. As I said before, the internet was like a universe of websites and cool things going on, so soulful and experimental and fucking authentic, truly authentic. And what happened to the universe? To that universe, these big corporations started buying shit, or they started copying the things of those soulful websites, and because they have more money, they're bigger. Though that universe fucking died out, because people over time just moved to the things that were owned by those big corporations, and those other like more independent things, indie and whatever. All those sites fucking died. For no, like, there are some sites that if you try to access now, if you're from that time, you're just gonna have a fucking blank page, like a error page, like, because the people are not stopped paying for it a long time ago, and the fucking thing died because no one used it anymore. And it's fucking ridiculous in my opinion. Like, again, most people use Instagram, YouTube, and X. And more like maybe they use other apps. And another thing, like, we're not talking about websites anymore. We are talking about apps. People use apps now. Like, most people just use apps on their phones. They don't even type websites anymore. And this fucking sucks. This is one factor that contributed to honestly the destruction that smartphones caused to society. Because, as I said before, and I'm gonna be brief in this subject right now, because I can make a whole video about it, because it's kind of complex, and I don't want this video to drag on too much, because I even gonna do little cuts in this video, so it's kind of less boring, because most people can't pay attention for a long time in a video because they get bored, because there are no images flashing out. So I gotta do that, or else YouTube ain't gonna recommend my video, which sucks. Also, be sure to like and whatever. Anyways, so as I said before, each one of those sites had its own like culture, own people using, own group of people. They all had, like, they have their inside stuff. Their, it was a culture. Each site was like a culture. Different forums, different blogs. They had depth. It had soul. It had personality. Things that truly lack on any of those big corporation-owned websites. Like, that's a fact. So it was pretty cool. It was fucking cool, and that was a reflex of society, because I don't know, like I'm talking, I live in Brazil, so I'm talking like my experience here in Brazil. We used to have a thing that it was called urban tribes. It was like society had like different groups of people. And I'm not talking about skin color, about gender or something like that. No, I'm talking about fucking culture. That's what I'm talking about. Culture and lifestyle. That's what I'm talking about. So they had this different groups, which here in Brazil we used to call the urban tribes. Tribos urbanas. That what we used to call here. I was a child at the time. I was like pre-adolescent at the time, but I lived in that world. I engaged with that stuff. So it was pretty fucking, and it was awesome because it built personality, built culture, And anyways, all those urban tribes, each one of them, like the websites that I was talking about, because as I said, it was a reflex of what I'm talking about now. Each one of those tribes, groups of people, they had their own personality, they had their own culture, they had their own arts and music, fashion, everything. They had their own universe, their own world, their own things that, their own lifestyle, their lives. Like they had their thing going on. They had a lot of things going on in that tribe. That resonate with those people. Like the emos had their music, their fashion, their most importantly, each one of those tribes, they had like places that they would meet in real life. They had their own like nightclubs, their own points on stores or whatever, that places that they would gather and interact with each other. Maybe festivals, shows and whatever. So to give depth to the culture, to live that culture, to live on the lifestyle, that world, that universe there. They had like the hip hop guys, you had the emo guys, they had the metal heads, the goths, the fucking indies, the specific electronic genre types. I don't know, I'm talking about music now generally, but it's not just music. You also have the anime guys, the cosplayers, the anime fans, the fucking literature fans, the fucking whatever. Like, you had like this. Anyways, and this is very superficial. Like, you can go in depth with that and actually look at all those tribes and different groups that are existing, which is fucking cool. Anyways, but the point is, each one of those, they had their own like universe going on, their own art, their own culture, their own artists, places, their own lifestyle. It was a group of people. It was different, like actual different urban cultures. Each one was a universe, their own world, their own things going on. They lived that for real. And what happened with the internet and the addiction to likes, comments, engagement, and the superficiality of social media posts, and the loss of those web places, those websites where these different groups of people used to gather online, to actually discuss their own culture of their urban tribe or urban group or whatever. With the loss of that and the homogenization of the internet and the monopolization by those big companies, and people ended up using only those fucking sterilized, soulless, minimalistic websites or apps on their cell phones. What started to happen is all those cultures that I talked about, they started suffering from a thing that I didn't find a name to it, but you guys can comment below. It was like the aesthetification, let's put it that way. It was like all those cultures, people started like robbing, stealing their fucking appearance, maybe fashion or whatever, in a very superficial way, just basically stealing that shit without actually living that shit, and using them on the internet, like wearing a fucking the skin of a dead body. A horrible thing to say, but it feels like that. Not because the thing is dead, but because these people are killing it and destroying it. They've successfully basically destroyed a lot of those cultures, and just to make posts and get likes and get comments and get engagement on those stupid fucking social media, you know, like you see a lot of times, like people pick, like they literally picked up a appearance of a culture and used and turned that into a fucking aesthetic. They call that shit aesthetic now, like the emo aesthetic, like the blah 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 aesthetic, like the whatever aesthetic, and they don't actually realize that by doing that they basically killed fucking whole ass cultures, because that aesthetic that you're posting a TikTok with that dancing like a stupid motherfucker, that aesthetic has a whole ass culture behind it, has lots of people that actually lived and engaged and did lots of artistic things and behind their aesthetic, you know, but you don't give a fuck about that. You're just using it. You don't even feel like attracted to that or anything. Probably you're just using that shit to gain engagements in social media. And you know what we used to call this type of people? Posers. Those are fucking posers, you know. We used to call them like, what the fuck are you dressing like that, you fucking poser? Like, give me the name of 3 songs, motherfucker. No, you can't, because you're a poser. So stop pretending that you're part of our fucking culture, using that fucking clothes, like dressing like that and pretending like that, because you're not. Like, you're ruining that shit. You do not have the depth of information of the lifestyle of the things to actually understand the why behind that aesthetic that you call it aesthetic, but it's just our fucking fashion sense and music and whatever. But people don't actually care about that. They don't care about likes. So that's what happens. The aesthetification of urban cultures. You know, basically people stealing the appearance of people that used to you know be part of those urban tribes, just to make fucking TikToks and post on social media and get, you know, validation online. Or it's basically killing a lot of those cultures, killing big parts of those beautiful fucking cultures that had depth, that had art, that had personalities, that had soul, you know. So that happened, you know. So you now see a lot of times on the internet people doing like something aesthetic, blah 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 aesthetic, emo aesthetic, golf aesthetic, blah, 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 and they don't even know anything about the fucking culture. They're fucking posers. But you can't saying the word poser now is offensive. Gatekeeping is offensive now. Gatekeeping served one thing. It served a beautiful point, which was protecting a culture from people that wanted to just steal its aesthetic. I hate that word, but it's aesthetic, to get validation. But these people didn't actually engage in that fucking culture. So gatekeeping serves from protecting cultures from that type of person, grifter. I don't know why you call that person fucking posers, you know. But nowadays it's offensive to say the word. Just why calling them poser? What? Congratulations, you killed a fucking lot of cultures. That's why society like doesn't have, is soulless now. That's why things are soulless now, because of you guys that started thinking it's offensive to say poser. But you know, don't actually stop it to think why people used to say that word. Anyways. And then we go back to smartphone. You know, that was a brief resume of the aesthetification of urban cultures, but I guess you guys could actually understand the point pretty well. And you know, I actually spoke a lot more than I was supposed to. I was just going to do a brief resume, but anyways. So on the point, as an obvious point, but people are actually fucking addicted. You know, like, can we just call that shit addiction now, please? Because people are fucking addicted to you know, doom scrolling on that shit. You know, people just keep doom scrolling all day. You know, there's big companies that own those fucking apps that you use. They use those fucking algorithms that they studied to do that. They engineer that shit specifically to make you addicted. That shit is engineered to make you addicted. Have you ever thought of that? Yes, it is. That's why you're addicted to doom scrolling. They actually engineered that shit. That shit didn't fall from the sky. They did that shit like that. They actually engineered because they want you to be addicted, to keep using their apps so that they can pick your data or make money from advertisements. So think about that. When you're like doom scrolling, you're just you're falling for the trap. You're actually using the drug that they designed to make you addicted, and you're just slurping that shit. Stop. Other thing, real fast, as I said before, content like internet, like YouTube, at the beginning, or like going back those beautiful websites that I talked about, things used to have but that I can actually say specifically about like the start of YouTube and those stuff, because I picked that. I used to do YouTube videos in fucking 2006, 2007. Like YouTube had a fucking 5-star system hating, and the algorithm, I don't know if it was the algorithm or it was just less saturated, but it used to get way more views way more easily. Like things worked, but I guess it was just because there was less people using it and flooding it with shit. But anyways, at the start of like YouTube, let's talk about YouTube. At the start of YouTube, content was actually like real, like coming directly from the person. Truly, it was really like a personal thing. Like people actually liked that. It was like picking a fucking VHS recorder and recording like your friends or your lifestyle or whatever, and it was like he really had personality. People used to really put their personalities like into like YouTube, and it really felt like homemade viewers, like person talking to camera, like I'm talking to you right now, or me at the zoo. You know that video, right? It was kind of more a personal thing, like YouTube, your personality, your thing. You know what I'm saying? Like like let's remember like the start of like Smosh. All those channels at the time, like Max Mofo, whatever. Like you can just go back, you can just go at those channels, or or you can search for videos like some video. You can go in the search bar, search for something, and you put before and 2 points and year like 2007. Like things really had like personality. It felt like each channel had their own personality, and not just in the video, but also on the layout. Because YouTube, you can actually put images, banners. You can actually put like color in the YouTube page, and it was so fucking customizable. Search it up. It was so fucking customizable. It was like he picked up on some MySpace stuff. I also searched about MySpace. That's what customization is all about. It was fucking awesome. But with time, of course, those big companies, what they did, they stripped YouTube of all the personality that you could put on it. They took off. You couldn't anymore put color on your channel page, put all those banners and images and shit and customize it. You couldn't anymore. Things starts getting like minimalistic and soulless, and I don't know. Like we could go in depth on why that happened, but not in this video. But that happened, So yeah, YouTube at the start was really something personal with real like personality to the channels. But with time and with the advancement of the algorithm and the flooding of people and content every day, people started realizing they could gain more engagement and more views and more likes, like if they just act like clowns on the fucking internet, like without like people start acting weird, like was something professional, like they're really trying to get it like a matter of the fucking algorithm or something. So they started losing like their personalities, and they're starting acting really similar to each other, like fucking robots or bots. Like they're really controlling themselves and starting to think and calculate what they can do to gain more engagement in the algorithm and get recommended and shit. So they stopped acting like themselves, like someone with soul, and they start acting soulless, like a fucking NPC that is trying to reach the most audience as possible. As you can see, fucking nowadays the fucking Mr. Beast or any of those like big channels, I don't think all of them, but maybe 90% of them, like, people act weird. Like, people started doing that, and nowadays it's just that 1,000 times that, you know. People start acting like no personality, like robots. They just want engagement. They're not themselves anymore. It's like what you're seeing on screen with those people, it's not them, you know. And some of those people, I think they actually became robots, like actual, like NPCs. They don't have a sliver of fucking true personality in them. They're just algorithm. These people turned themselves into algorithms, basically. I don't know what happened, but, you know, at the start, people actually had personality. You know, it was really YouTube, not NPC tube or algorithm tube. But that happened, and shit started, like, not just the internet started getting homogenized, but people started getting homogenized and fucking started becoming soulless and mentally and personality wise minimalistic. What the fuck happened, you know? Honestly, it's the algorithms, the things that came with the doom scrolling and the social media, everything that came with the fucking smartphone. Like the things that, like, when the shit started getting really bad, was all because of this shit. I tell you what. And anyways, so with that type of people, what started happening, which was way worse, is people started, like, which is something more new, I guess, something like 2010s, not even more 2000, like in the 2010s, people started realize that if they act like fucking dumbasses and psychos and like fucking animals, they get engagement too, you know. So people actually fucking started acting real bad. Like, people started harassing people on the street. People started saying scandalous things, just not because they actually believe in that shit at the first place, but because they will get engagement, you know. People hate them, people talk about them, they will get engagement, you know. Any engagement is engagement, you know. Any publicity is publicity, let's say, type shit, you know. So, you know, it had people eating Tide Pods, you had people leaking toilet seats, you had people straight up fucking assaulting people on the streets, you had people doxing people, bullying, and all that shit, because they saw that shit makes them, you know, famous on the internet, or famous on the internet, you know, or infamous on the internet, but they can actually gain notoriety because of that, you know. They can actually gain numbers with that, so they start doing that, you know. Just act like an animal, act like a psycho, that will make you money, you know. People started actually doing that, and that's pretty bad, and that's a pretty horrible thing that happens with the internet. Other thing came with that, which is something more modern, like, I'll say 2020s, people started to realize that, maybe a little bit before, but people started to realize that fuck quality, you know. I can just, you know, just be an algorithm, I can act like a psycho, like an animal, and I don't even need to work well on those videos. I just need to put a lot of them out there, and with short form content, I could put 1,000 of them every day or something like that. So people started doing all that shit with quantity, not with quality. Not that it was quality in the first place, but actually talking about good content that we used to have. Even those people start realize that they don't even need to work a lot in quality if they have like quantity. If they just put things that are good in the algorithm, or doing trendy shit, you know. So it's basically, if the internet was about quality at some point, I don't think it is like that anymore. Like, it was like quality here and quantity here. Nowadays it's like quantity, quality, maybe not even any quality, you know. There are people that just reposting videos of other people, so who cares, you know. So they flood the internet with more bullshit, with more shit content. People get way dumber, people don't scroll even more, that's it. People just get dumber. That's what happens. And anyways, so we reached the point where we are today, you know. We reached the point where we are today in the internet, we don't have websites with, you know, like had before. Anyway, I already talked about that. The internet nowadays is just psycho shit, you know, people acting like crazy, doing psycho animalistic things on the internet, people getting mental illness because of the internet, because people or for content, because that actually happened. People like either pretend to get mental illness, or they even get mental illness because of the content they are making, because that gives people engagement. People like to watch other people surf and become crazy on the internet. Short form content, quantity over quality, people posting other people's shit, just copying straight up shit. Anyway, people promoting online casinos to children and everyone, you know, people doing sick shit for content, for engagement, you know. That's where we are today, and the internet completely monopoly. Now people only use Meta, Google, and X, you know, websites, and you know, shit don't have personality anymore. It's pretty sad, you know, for someone that use the internet like in the early 2000s to now. Like, internet is you can't even compare. Shit is dead. Anyway, now with artificial intelligence, holy fuck, don't even get me into that. That's just the nail in the coffin. For real, that's the nail in the coffin. Anyways, that was a 38-minute rant. It was supposed to be that long, but yeah, it was long. So that's it, guys. I guess, you know, I recommend you guys one exercise. Try to spend a week, yes, a whole week, without using your smartphone. How about that? Can you do that? Let's see if you can do that, guys. Comment below. Can you do that? And if you guys can't, or you guys actually think like it's impossible because I need my smartphone to actually live or work or whatever, you comment below too, because that's one thing too, guys. We didn't use smartphone and we worked. Nowadays you're obligated sometimes to have a smartphone to actually work. So yeah, pretty sad shit. People are addicted, people are crazy, psychos, content is trash, they cute cultures. And that's my rant. Thanks for watching. Don't get addicted to your smartphone. Pay attention to that. If you're going to sleep, keep that shit away from you. And if you see that you're falling for their algorithm, their addictive, engineered, inhuman, addictive bullshit, stop. Throw that shit away. And you know, that's it, guys. Fuck smartphones. See you in the next one.